Cornell.
Hi, everyone. Okay, I have something glossy and fun to hand out to you. And free.
Yeah, that's true. Hi, thank you.
So every year, we offer our thanks in the form of a community report. Last week, we had our annual meeting, and I wanted to thank officially Donald Collins for coming, because that was wonderful. He came and was there, and it was on that nice, fun Tuesday icy night. So we were hoping for a quorum, and we had it. It was really a lovely event at the community college, and this was presented first there. I sent an electronic copy over also to Kelly so that you have it. So I'm not going to read, I'm going to read the whole thing. No, just kidding. There's a little note for me about being new and excited about what we've been doing the last year. So as we think about the appropriation, the money for the appropriation is spread across our different programs. So particularly in Columbia County, a lot of the funds goes towards our 4-H and youth development program. And I wanted to let you know that we had our achievement night and we had 67 people in attendance, which was really exciting. And as I mentioned last time, we had our largest sale for the livestock ever. Does anyone remember the number? $66,000 those young people made. It was amazing. And we're hoping that they're going to allow the increase in steer in each year, because it did prove to be very profitable for the young people. So as you can see, we have some nice highlights about our 4-H program, and it's just been really wonderful to see how reactivated people are getting back together with COVID. Our community horticulture program. Has anyone listened to our podcast?
4-H program. Phil Trowbridge had a lot
Yes.
to do. He made that sell what it was.
Yeah, it was. I went to, you guys will love it. So I'd never been to I've been to Butcher's, okay, but I'd never been to Stratton's. That was an experience, and it was amazing. They were wonderful, and so you have to book it out a year in advance. And he said, "We've never had this much before," so it was great, and it really made the kids feel very, I think, accomplished and appreciated.
Yeah.
I visited during this past time since I've seen you guys. I've visited 15 farms. The most recent farm I visited was Friday. I went to Holly Rock, Jerry Farm in Kinderhook, and that was really interesting to get to meet. I met with 3 generations of the family there, so it was really wonderful. Oh, sorry. You're gonna have to bring my map with me specifically. That's it. Wrong jurisdiction. Sorry about that. But it was great to see it. I've been to all sorts of farms throughout the county, from large dairy, small, to those who are growing and developing finished projects. I went to Meisner's. There are 2, as you all know. I went to the one of the dentist, and that was an interesting experience. I loved meeting him, and I committed to going to visit him again annually, both for checkups and for everything that we need. We were teaching more and more women how to use machinery in the forest, and that's really excellent, because we have a lot of women who own property in our county, and learning how to manage it and learning how to make profit off of the wood in a certain pattern so they can do longevity has been great. So we've been out doing lots of different programming, and this sort of highlights it. I had 4 open house sessions over the last in the month of October and November to get feedback for the Hudson campus. We had 46 people come in total and gave us input on what they want to see us doing with our money and our space, and how to bring in more money and energy to our campus. And kind of the highlights are more programming with youth, more gardening programming, and then bringing back cooking programs. So we would be able to do that if we were able to upgrade our kitchen facilities in the future. So I'm looking into ways to partner on that and do farm to table programs with our 4-H and our master gardeners collaboratively. I met with our college president drummers to talk about how we might work together to do things as effectively as possible and efficiently, saving money for the taxpayer. One way is we are now offering our anger management and some other courses on site at the community college. So that allows for the opportunity for people to take the courses at the community college campus, and it brings people a little bit more understanding of the non-credit program offerings. As I said, we held our annual meeting. We had a quorum, and that was wonderful. We are, as I had mentioned before, we extricated ourselves from the capital area ag and hort program, and we did that in order to provide better service. Our plan is to provide better service to our local farmers, and by doing that, we're posting a position right now for an agriculture educator. And that position is going to only serve Columbia and Greene County, but will be supported through all of the other Cornell relationships that we have throughout the state and our program relationships we have through other states. Tomorrow, I'll be attending the USDA listening session, which is the first time in a while that it's been held, I think, in Columbia County. And there will be numerous farmers attending, as well as some of my staff, our agroforestry specialist, our manager of our Taste New York store, as well as our Sarah person who works on a 13 state project. So she's kind of aware of different programs that are available to farmers. They will provide some information on resources, as well as the direction from the federal, state, and regional level. So those are kind of my updates. Does anyone have any questions? Anything else you'd like to see me out there doing? Okay, and I'm wondering, do you guys post when the funding comes through for so that I can account that back to my board? I received it from the other county, but I don't know at what point you guys make that determination for budgeting purposes.
At the budget hearing, it's in, I want to say the money is in the budget. Well, yeah, I shouldn't say that exactly, but yeah, there is a number in the budget, and the budget will get voted on December 10th or something. So
Whatever the second Wednesday.
second Wednesday.
Oh, okay, that's good to know. Just you guys are on different times, so that's good.
Yeah.
All right.
As soon as we get that approved, then we can share that with you.
Okay, and if there's anything else that you guys are interested to know about what we're doing, or I didn't want to bore you, but I was going to leave copies of these. I also did email it to Kelly, but just in case anyone else is interested from the board to know about what we are doing out in the community.
You have a business card?
I do. Okay, you want to?
Get that, so I have your contact information.
Absolutely.
There's a group in Anklam that's forming that is calling itself a farm and garden working group.
Oh,
And I think I'd like to put you in touch with them.
absolutely. That would be great because they would probably get a tremendous amount of support from our Master Gardener group.
Yep.
One second.
She busy.
And I'll report back next time on what I learned at the USDA listening session tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Lisa.
All right, next is CEDC. Jess? Mike is not here.
Yeah, so Mike apologizes for not being able to make it today. Sorry, you just had me. First on the agenda is a broadband update. CEDC is continuing to work with our consultants and the 4 providers in Columbia County on resolving the address discrepancies between the county list and the PSC. All in an effort to have the most accurate data and up-to-date and update the FCC list, which is being created in Washington. We also are anticipating having our updated data project completed by the end of the month. So we can get you sort of more definitive numbers on the households and the addresses that are going to be served. We have engaged staff with the newly reinvigorated Broadband New York office, which is now housed with Empire State Development. And we are planning to schedule a follow-up meeting with Archtop Fiber. We're setting up their operation in Kingston and recently signed an agreement to purchase GTEL. So that's some big news that came out. You may have noticed recently that Greene County announced that it will use $2.2 million of its ARPA money to fund building out service to approximately 2,000 addresses. And then we're continuing to work with Supervisor Holtelling and Supervisor Adams in connection with the USDA funding secured by former Congressman Delgado. Regarding just a quick update on Columbia Forward activities this past month, we held 2 training workshops The first one, when your HR department is you. This was really focused on sort of the basics of HR to help small businesses. The second, that was actually held at Stuyvesant Town Hall. Then we just held one on QuickBooks. This was very basic QuickBooks for new users. That was at the Claverack Library. Both events were very well received. Participants actually requested follow-ups specifically to the QuickBooks. So in reaction to that, we're putting together quickly a little bit more of a QuickBooks. It's not, I wouldn't say advanced at all, but more specific to tips and tricks that they can learn in QuickBooks. That is right now, I think we're locked in on December 14th at 4 p.m. at Claverack. So that's really, I think the response to those workshops have been really great.
Were either of those videoed?
No, they weren't.
Should we think about that for the future?
We actually have been thinking about that and the capability. It does limit us for where we can host them. And one of the big goals about these workshops are to get out into all the towns and really start. So we have been trying to figure out how we can do a on the road with sort of videotaping or web-based capability. So as we're starting to put together our schedule for 2023, it's something we're hoping we'll be able to do. Just a quick announcement on the grants for Columbia Forward. We have 7 businesses who've been awarded the grants totaling $12,800. All of them have expressed great thanks to the County Board of Supervisors in making those available. Affordable housing. As you all know, Chairman Morrell appointed the task force members and the resource advisory committee members at the November Board of Supervisors meeting. Supervisors Adams and Knotts were named co-chairs. And so they, along with Mike and myself, have begun interviewing candidates. We hope to have interviews wrapped up by the end of November. While we don't expect the selected candidate to start until January, we may schedule a task for the first task force meeting for mid-December. Solar projects. Mike is working with Suzette Boy in the Real Property Tax Office to compile a master list of 5 megawatt solar pilots and to work with with her and the impacted town assessors to be sure the pilots are properly listed on the tax rolls, and also that a procedure is set up for CEDC to collect the pilot payments and distribute the funds to the respecting jurisdictions. So we're working on that, and we'll get you some more updates shortly. Also to note on the solar project that the way it's looking at most of the projects won't be completed in time for the March 2023 taxable status date. So we'll continue just to monitor the projects, but they're probably not going to hit in time for that pilot payment. On the Office of Community Renewal Grants, Kleinskill Farms, if you recall, the county was awarded $250,000 of the Coronavirus Aid Relief and Economic Securities Act, also referred as CARES. The grant is to support Kleinskill Farm worker safety housing, and the farm is replacing a manufactured home to protect the health and well-being of the workforce. As part of the seeker review, a determination of lead agency must be made. And this is part that conducts, and this is the agency that conducts the seeker review. OCR requires recipients of CDBG funding to assume the role of lead agency unless another agency comes forward and assumes the status. So I'm not sure how you want to handle the resolutions. I skipped the Kleinskill one, sorry.
I'll take it from here. So there's a resolution in front of us to declare the Columbia County Board of Supervisors the lead agency in this type 2 action. I can go through and read the whole thing.
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Do you want to go back to the Kleinkill one? Sorry.
Whatever you want to do.
Your call. Oh, I'm sorry. The Kleinkill is that
That
one.
was the Kleinkill one, yeah.
That is the Kleinkill. Did I skip another one? I didn't skip one.
No, you didn't.
Just that one. I thought I skipped 2.
Yeah, 'cause
Sorry.
the only one, the next one is the backwater trail one.
Oh, okay, perfect. Thank you. Oh, and then it's the Cesarina. Okay, so, the next, OCR grant, just a quick update, is the Hudson Valley Creamery. This project was awarded $375,000. However, they did not pursue the full expansion that they expected. They did, though, create a total of 4 new positions. And 45,000 of the 375,000 was dispersed. So in an effort to now close out the project, and the grant with the state, New York State Office of Community Renewal, came out and conducted a monitoring of the county as well as the project a couple of weeks ago. So we're hoping that we'll close that out and that gets us, that'll close all of both the county books as well as CEDC books. Clock Estates. This is the former Drumlin project, if you're familiar. They were awarded $300,000 for the creation of 17 full-time positions and 6 part-time positions. We have dispersed $150,000 to date. Once they fulfill the remainder of the jobs, we'll request the disbursement of the remaining funds. I don't expect that to happen probably till more around the springtime. So they're still ramping up with some of their product lines. So we're good. That we probably won't see much more of this one for a couple of months. The next one on the list is called Backwater Grill. The former restaurant on Quechee Lake in Canaan, which closed several years ago. Melanie Hunt proposes to renovate the property and open Vita del Lago, and request the County Board of Supervisors to support an application for CDBG funding for her project. Melanie is here, so I don't know if you're comfortable, if you want to give a little bit of a description about your project, and then if anybody had questions.
I've purchased the backwater in 2021, right after COVID or during COVID. And I've always loved Quechee. I have 2 other restaurants, one in Columbia, one right over the border in Rensselaer County. And the backwater, I don't know if anyone's been there, but it's been kind of falling apart for a long time. It closed in November of COVID 2020, and I purchased it in the spring, the following spring, and have spent the last year or so working with the state DC on getting having the ability to get a sanitation permit and a full scale septic treatment system put in place. So we did it. So that's really big news to be on the lake and be able to have that. So as of this point, I'm just sort of working on funding a construction loan and banking on my end. And the other part of this is, now, how many jobs can we create out of this? What we can bring to Canaan, because there's not a lot as far as food and jobs going on there right now. So that's what I'm working on, cleaning up the lake, because I love it there. I don't know, does anyone have any questions about it?
One quick question. Are you comfortable that you'll be able to attract the staff to operate?
I have 2 other restaurants. We have just survived 2 years in COVID. I was able to keep and hire more during COVID. I applied for PPPs and everything I could. I never quit. And thankfully, neither did my staff. So I hired more people. We built double onto almost triple onto the Steventown restaurant, which is done amazing, and I think we can do the same in Canaan.
Sounds great. Thank you.
You know, the Melanie's restaurants, both of the 2 that I know, are both experiences, not only in terms of food, but it's a place where people want to be. It becomes a destination. And I think that's part of why you're also able to attract young people, because it's an exciting, wonderful place to be and work.
Yeah, there's not a lot of places to work in our area,
No.
especially, and some of my best employees have been the teenagers that I've hired out of the local schools. I mean, they give it their all. So it's been a great experience for me through the years. Sherry worked with me. Yeah, so
I was not a teenager though.
She was in charge. She had to crack the
No,
whip. So, anything else? Any other questions?
Good for you.
How soon do we get into?
Thank you.
So do you need a motion for
So
the
yes,
resolution?
there's a resolution authorizing Matt as chairman of the board of supervisors to apply for a community renewal grant on behalf of Melanie.
I'll make that motion.
There's a second.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
So when will you be opening?
As soon as I can knock that thing down and start rebuilding, I'm
Sounds
working.
good. We'll all be there on opening day.
All right.
Oh, you
Awesome.
can have a board of supervisors party there.
That would be-
There we go.
A business after hours kind of thing.
And if I'm still the supervisor, I'll tell you, I was always the liaison with the prior businesses that were on the lake that were dumping dishwater and all kinds of great
Oh.
stuff in the lake. So I was the one that had to answer all those complaints. I'll be delighted to have a state-of-the-art septic system.
Yeah.
It'll be a
Pretty
huge
impressive.
environmental
Yeah,
win for Queechee Lake for sure.
yeah. So thank you. And good luck.
Thanks.
Where'd that name come from?
Did the Lago?
No,
Kimchi.
Oh, it's an Indian name.
The land came from the Stockbridge Indian.
Okay.
And what is the name going to be?
Vida del Lago, Lake Life. I gotta get rid of that backwater.
Two bad names associated.
Yeah.
Sounds like your septic system.
Doesn't make you really wanna eat.
Made you
dinner,
understand
so-
why DEC was involved, right? You know?
Great, thank you. So the next, item is, New Lebanon Main Street Grant. New Lebanon, was awarded $20,000 to develop a Main Street revitalization design guidelines and project action plan for the town's commercial corridor. So that's a big, that'll really kickstart sort of a vision and helping with, the activities in, around New Lebanon. Cesarino land purchase. The attorneys are still working with the title company on a few issues, but CEDC has a binding purchase contract and is ready to close. You'll see the resolution in the packet today is really, it replaces the resolution from last month, or the last meeting, just because there was a draft version that ended up getting put in there. So this is more of a formality. I
So
think.
this resolution is authorizing the chairman of the board of supervisors to direct Columbia County IDA to transfer sale proceedings to the county land to the Columbia Economic Development Corporation.
I'll move that.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot,
Thank you.
Jessica.
Great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, tell Mike he doesn't have to
Tell
come.
Mike. Yeah.
No, Mike is- Next up, Workforce Development Board has a general resolution request to appoint Miss Jessica Gabriel, Senior Economic Developer from CEDC to replace Mr. James LePen on the Columbia Green Workforce Development Board.
I'll move it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
And I understand the Skilling the Gap workshop was unbelievably positive.
It was really great. And I think, so we've started to talk about what's next. What else, we need to figure out how we can engage businesses more. We actually at CEDC have sort of reinvigorated, we have a workforce and education, committee. And so we've started to think about, well, it's not just going to be CEDC board members. We're thinking of pulling outside of our board. So it really has kickstarted a lot more conversations about workforce and how do we address sort of the gap in the issues. Issues that are huge, as you all know, housing, childcare, it's across the board that are really impacting workforce. So,
A lot of good energy though.
Yes.
A lot of good energy.
yeah.
I asked Mike if it was possible for the guy from Patterns for Progress to share his presentation that he gave there, which was very different than what was shared in the report. I think that it hits home a lot more to what some of the issues are, like beyond employment. I think the board would appreciate.
we can share that. It's actually, I believe it's up on our website.
Okay.
I can get the link and have Mike distribute it around if you all want to see his presentation.
That'd be great.
That's all I have unless there's a supervisor has any business to bring before the committee. Any questions from the public?
Anybody on there, sir?
No, there's nobody else.
If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Have a good night and a happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you all set?